Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
TNA came back with the No Surrender pay-per-view this weekend, or this Friday to be exact. And what a show it really was. We're going to into it right now on the Hitting the Turnbuckle channel. The pre-show match, well, there was two pre-show matches on the card. The first one was Trent, Sabin, and Mike Bailey versus the Rascalz. And this was a little bit like the new, I wouldn't say upstart tag team, but a newly formed tag team against a tag team that has had a lot of experience, and it did show in this match. But perfectly good opener, and it looks like Bailey and Sabin could be something more than a makeshift team. But at this point, they wasn't good enough to take out a long-term or a long-time established team such as the Rascalz. There was a great bit of this match where they were working on Speedball Mike Bailey's knee, and it carried on throughout, and that's really important when it comes to the end of this match, which was a knee bar to make Speedball tap, and Macklin did come in with a chop block as well. But because of that, it was such a good story to him, because that's how they started working on the knee of Bailey, and they finished with Bailey tapping out to the knee bar, which was actually such good, because sometimes in wrestling they forget about this, and it doesn't they work on a body part and they don't finish working on that body part, if that makes sense. So it was a great win for the Rascalz. Macklin did interfere, but one thing you need to see in this match is a shooting star press by Mike Bailey. Absolutely fantastic. And it's a really good opener to start up the pre-show. The next match following that was Kushida and Kevin Knight versus The System. Again, really fun tag team match on this one. Knight is a crazy high flyer who can make things look pretty much effortless, and Kushida can work well with anybody, and that as a team makes a good combination to go against The System. Really good match on this, really enjoyable. The winning part of this match was a Boston knee party by Eddie Edwards. After Kushida hit the roster, after Kushida took the roster cut by Myers. So a good win for The System. Would that continue throughout the night? We'll have to wait and see. The opening was Frankie Kazarian and Eric Young, number one contenders match for a shot at Sacrifice at the World Heavyweight Champion, whoever that may be. Really good experience back and forth from these two veterans. They cut a really old school type feel to this match. And it was a match where really Kazarian had 90% of it. And then Eric Young hits a crucifix pin to get the win. And it felt an important victory, to be fair. It actually felt like it was a serious number one contenders match, if that makes sense. And Eric Young winning it is great. He'll go on to face the champion, Sacrifice. But at the end of this match, when Kazarian lost, he absolutely annihilated a referee. So interesting to find out what happens to Kazarian after the beatdown of the referee. We get to one of the matches now that I've been waxing lyrical about. Best of three series. It was tied at 1-1, like we expected it to be. Grizzled Young Veterans, Bullet Club ABC. I mean, I kept saying they kept doing things differently on these matches to make every match feel different. And they done exactly the same here. I mean, you got exactly what you would think you would get from these two teams. A brilliant tag team match. It ended up with a double art finesse for the 1-2 sweet finish. And Bullet Club ABC retained the championships. But I'm telling you what, it could be The System that's next. But these two teams put on three brilliant matches, and I tell you what, I'd love to see it again. I'd love to see more Grizzled Young Veterans on TNA television as well, with any luck. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. But kudos to the two teams bringing out a sensational free match series, and well, congratulations to the Bullet Club ABC for retaining their championships. The brawl that I thought it was going to be was next, Con versus PCO. I mean, it just starts on the aisleway. They kick the crap out of each other. The bell eventually rings. Kong knocks PCO down. He gets right back up. There's a big flip dive that's knocked away, and PCO is sent into various things. He finally gets a shot of his own, but a cactus clothesline puts him back on the floor. There was a denominator, fucking I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, PCO crashes through the apron. And then in the end, after about 4 minutes, Con blasts him with a chair for a DQ. And he keeps on blasting PCO with a chair and wrenching PCO's neck on the stage. So this match isn't finished. This feud isn't finished. I can see this going maybe Monsters Ball or some form of crazy stuff, because PCO's been doing a lot of crazy stuff. So I can see this match becoming something, a gimmick match, maybe at the next show at Sacrifice, and they'll do some crazy stuff. But a good outing for Con, although only 4 minutes. It put him over quite strong in this. So maybe TNA have got something there that they want to do with Con going forward. So we'll have to wait and see what they do with Con sort of following this feud. But I've got a feeling that this feud isn't finished yet. Knockouts tag team champions were next. Decay versus MK Ultra. A shocking one here, to be honest. MK Ultra reclaim the tag team championships. It was a really interesting tag. It was quite a good tag, actually. I wasn't sure what to expect, to be fair, out of this. The last tag match was a lot more about Decay reuniting than anything else. And this one was actually good. It gave MK Ultra a chance to shine, and they certainly did that. Now, again, this match only went sort of 7.5 minutes, and it ended with they cut off Rosemary's Spear, hit the snowplow, and they won the titles back. Now, interestingly enough, on this one, they carry on fighting after this match, and then Danny Luna and Jody Fret make the save, and then basically MK Ultra go for them. So it looks as though that's where they're going next. Perhaps MK Ultra versus Danny Luna and Jody Fret for the tag team titles, which I'd like to see that. That would be really good. But congratulations to MK Ultra for reclaiming the tag team championships back. Another match that I was really looking forward to on the card: Simon Gotch versus Josh Alexander. This one went about nearly 20 minutes. This was, again, two guys that can go in the ring, that are great wrestlers. This match felt like a big deal, which didn't even need a title, and it certainly delivered on that. And it is so good. Gotch done really well here. Obviously, with his previous gimmick in the WWE, you've got to understand he's not a vaudevillain anymore. He is Simon Gotch. He's a great wrestler. And these two just went at it with so much great wrestling for 20-odd minutes. And in the end, Josh Alexander hits a backbreaker through to the C4 spike and Gotch, and that was it. But, you've got to give credit to these two. This was brilliant. And hopefully Simon Gotch is TNA to stay, because he can really go. So kudos to both of them for putting on such a great match. And maybe we'll get another one in with these two in the future. Who knows? I'd be love to see it. Interestingly now, it was the TNA World Heavyweight Championship match between Moose, or the rematch between Moose and Alex Shelley, which is was a no surrender match, so to speak. But there was no DQ, but interference from anyone in the corner would make it a DQ. So it's a bit people say it's a bit convoluted, but it's a good way of doing it. They can use whatever they want, and they use chains, they use chairs, they use knuckles, they use pretty much everything but the people at the ringside, which was great. Yeah, the Moose wrapped a chain around his shoulder and hit another spear. At this point, because obviously he could throw in the towel, Kushida was ready to throw in a towel to save Shelley, who said, "Don't do it." Moose teases another spear, and this time, after 20-odd minutes, Kushida did throw in the spear, allowing Moose to pick up the win, and he got a spear at the end of that. Yeah, I was quite surprised this was mid-card, to be fair. The way in which it ended was a good way of protecting Alex Shelley as well, so that he didn't come across weak or losing it, cleanly as such. The towel was thrown in. So really good idea. But I don't know whether Kushida and Shelley are they going to be on the same page since then. I know Moose speared Kushida at the end, but I'm not sure if that's going to cause a bit of friction between Shelley and Moose. We'll have to wait and see. Gisele Shaw and Jordynne Grace was next. Before that, Ash by Elegance, sorry, come out and watch the whole of this match from ringside. Yeah, Jordynne Grace, Gisele Shaw for the title. Again, this was a great, there was Spanish flyers. They barely beat the count from the Spanish fly off the top to the outside. They were going at it for the 10 minutes that they had. And I was really thought they were going to change the titles here. And I know it sounds silly because Grace hasn't had the title long. She has she's been a dominant champion. She's made that Royal Rumble appearance. And I thought perhaps Gisele Shaw was going to nick it somehow. But the juggernaut driver from Jordynne Grace picks up the victory and she retains the championship. Ash by Elegance storms off at this point of the show. Now we get to the main event, and you know what? I get it now. When I was looking at the card and I saw the TNA Championship was last, saw a TNA titleship was sort of a couple of matches before the end, and they put the X Division Championship at main event. I totally understand it, and this match was absolutely brilliant. They had everything. It was like they were telling a story to a build up for a big finish, and they absolutely delivered on it. Not only did they deliver on it, Ali delivered on his promise and won the X Division Championship. He hits a sunset flip bomb into a 450 for a pin in just over 20 minutes. This was a feel-good moment. It was a really awesome main event. Go out of your way to watch that match. I mean, I'm not saying don't watch the pay-per-view as a whole, but if you only had a choice to watch one match, watch that. It was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was going to deliver. I was really looking forward to it when it was announced, and it didn't disappoint. And congratulations to Mustafa Ali, which also means he'll be sticking around in TNA for a bit now. So he will be the X Division champion and he will take on all comers. As a side note, Nick Nemeth won the New Japan TV Championship at the weekend. Now, there is rumors that he will be able to defend that on TNA shows going forward as well, which would be fantastic to gather that title on TNA. Overall, this pay-per-view absolutely delivered. Obviously, there was a lot of things going on about Scott D'Amore and leaving and how this was going to affect the show, how it was going to affect the fans. Brilliant news that he didn't. The fans were great. They were on fire all night as well. So, like we said before on the show, give an opportunity. We didn't want Scott D'Amore to leave. Obviously, it's happened, but you've got to give TNA a chance with the new management team in there to deliver. They certainly delivered on this one. Obviously, there's an Impact Wrestling taping. We've only got a couple of weeks until Sacrifice. So that's going to be even better news for us. So give them an opportunity to thrill. This was a great pay-per-view. But now big thanks to the guys at Progress Wrestling. We attended last night a Progress Wrestling Twisted Metal show. That was all shades of awesomeness. Big up shout out to Apex as well. Andy and Chris were down there yesterday at Apex Wrestling doing some filming and whatnot. That was a great time there as well. Big shout outs to Adonis Payne, LA Taylor, Artemis, Luna and Taylor James, our sponsors for this year. Shout out to Ignite Wrestling as well. We'll be doing the Turnbuckle Championship there again with Smashing Mike defending against James Ellis. We've also got Buckle Up 2024, Buckle Up 2 in July. We can't wait for that. And also a hell of a month of interviews coming up with the likes of Devon Dudley and Ken Shamrock joining us. But guys, this has been the TNA No Surrender review on Hitting the Turnbuckle channel. Please go to HTT Buckle on X, Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast and all other social media outlets and just look at our content. Go on our YouTube show for all of the interviews that we've done in the past with the likes of Vince Russo, Eric Bishop twice, Diamond Dallas Page, Buff Bagwell. There's a list on there of the who's who of wrestling. So take a look at that as well. And we'll be back this week with review shows and what we normally deliver for you guys. But until then, everybody, please enjoy your Monday. I know it's Monday. I know. What can I say? But buckle down and stay safe.